Hello and welcome. Tonight we are going to be continuing with U96. However, we're going to be picking up on the stages that I skipped due to not having all the additional lights that I want in place. Which I use these bulbs right here all along it. I use warm white version of these frosted hit bulbs and then red of the same kind. Tonight we will be starting with stage 41 and picking up on the last two stages that I left behind and left off on the last pack, the last two packs that I worked on. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let me just go back to the instructions really quick. Alright, now we just need to attach this piece right here and attach it with an EM screw. And you want the indented side facing up. So you want it facing like that. Let's get that tray. I only want one out. Bring over the oil since we're going to mill. Screw it into place. Switching to this guy. Alright. Now with that in place, we can tuck it into the lip. And attach it onto the side of the hole, like so. And that's how that's looking. And with that, we are done with that stage. Let's move on to the next one. Actually, we'll be attaching this part right here. And to do so, the first thing we need to do is route all these wires into this little spot right here. I already did so. Well, just to keep it nice and tight. And this attaches using two DP screws again. So let's see here. First one will go up here. Second one will go down there. I just need a good angle at it to make sure it was harder than it needed to be, but I now have that screw in. And that is it for that stage. Now on stage 55. If we actually are doing more circuit board work, yes, working on the circuit board and getting all these wires under control. Well, most of them. These three right here, we actually don't do anything with at this moment. We also get a label, so we don't want to lose that. Let's set it to the side. Good. Alright. First thing we do is actually put the circuit board into place. Just like so. Actually, no, reverse that. It actually goes this way. And then we cap it. And close it using the AP screws. Or the screws that we got in this pack. Set that over there. And attach them into place. We do so from this side right here, so that they can sit and flush with the indents. Let's oil it up. Let's go a bit smaller. Alright, now we have all that into place. Let's untangle the wire and actually install or label it using the A2. That we got in the last pack, or got in this stage. I'll label it around this end because it's more flat. And before I continue, okay, no, that's not gonna fit. How about... okay, no, that won't fit either. So unfortunately, this wire will not be able to be used to test the electronics. But in the meantime, we can plug it in to the number 5. If it'll just go in. Let's see. Let's try using this. Alright, that's in. Alright, next thing we want to do is grab our L1s, and these are going to go into the ones labeled 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, you know what, let's switch these two around. If I can get them out. Yes, let me. Grab my Exacto. Actually, you know what? Pause. Okay. That should work. Alright, sorry about that. I had to play around with the wire lanes, but We now have the 3 pause. I just noticed that I accidentally put L2 instead of the L1 in place. Might just end up switching these around it. Actually, let me double check. How are you gonna be? Yeah, let's actually flip this around again. Oops. Thankfully, I have a spare. Thankfully, I only really need to switch 2 wires instead of removing all of them. Alright, and back. Sorry about that. It took me a few tries since I kept messing up a bit. But now that I have all the L1s in place, the next thing we need to do is plug in the L2, and then we can slide this into place. And how this goes is, I'll make sure I get all the additional wires out of the way while I push this guy this one it should go right here, but it's not exactly wanting to stay put. I am. Yeah, like Todd says in his website, he might end up gluing it if it's not fully secured, since mine is also not only quite loose, but doesn't want to stay flush with the bottom of the floor, so unless there's something that we're missing, that's how that's going to sit underneath there, and that's going to be stage 55. Now to 56. Alright, now we're on stage 56, which is some more paneling, and seeing how it was a bust on trying to use this cable for the light test. I'm just going to let all this reset and then put it back in the anchor back in the upright position, and everything, just to make sure everything is in the right, nice and tight, and will not come undone. Anyways, first thing we're going to need to do is put on our attachment points. First one right here goes onto this point right here, and it's held down with the silver screws. Two of them. And again, since we're going to metal, dip it in oil and attach it. Until tight. I'm gonna actually do some cuts on this. 3, 2, 1. Alright, now that we have this side done, we can now repeat the same thing onto the other side. And once again, using the silver screws. Let's see if I can find a free silver base. Not sure why I have 2 left, but oh well. I think after as I build you, and as I progress with each room, I'll keep each one closed up. Alright, that's both of them now attached. Next thing we need to do is actually, well, make sure that we're not pinching wires, slide it up onto the hull of the ship and attach it using, is it 2? Yeah, 2 black screws. Actually, let me do this kind of glass. Alright, and with that, that's those 2 screws in, and that is it for stage 56. That is it for this video, but before I end the video, I am actually going to show you guys the light. Hate mine I did. So let's unplug the battery from the test board, get the wire for the first room in place, and let me try this again since I heard it want to work, but there we go. First thing I'm going to do is lift up the anchor. I'm going to turn off this light. There we go. And lay it down on. Actually, let me just remove these really quick. There we are. That is how that room is now looking. Both with the warm white and the new red. Shoot. Forgot that was not in. Oh, jeez. But yeah. that's how we're looking right now. A whole lot better. A whole lot more realistic. And with that, that will be, honestly, it for this video. I just felt like you guys would like to see the completion of this. Actually, before I fully end it, let's see how well this panel right here will do at. Actually, yeah, even with the light on, it actually blocks quite a good bit of the light. I'm impressed. Alright, well, let's pull this back off. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time for when I work on Apache, which I already have the tracking number for, and for when I work more on U96 when I get stages 16 through 17. And most likely next month. Alright, you guys have been wonderful. Tune in next time. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one.